Okay, so let me set the scene here for our fine episode. Uh, Both me and Spencer were so graciously able to get the consoles, but we were only able to get one console each, and we each got the opposite console. So that's going to be somewhat of what our episode's going to be about. Um, and so he has the PS5, where I was able to get the Xbox Series X by waiting in a line when it's freezing and for
Yes.
5 hours, which is something that I'm so glad was even available because wah wah for the PlayStation non-owners couldn't even go and stand in line because I honestly think that that's the better bet because you can always wake up earlier than the next guy. But
True.
fighting bots is not fair.
Nope.
Not fair at all, man. So I'm glad you got it. Hey, yeah, I don't even remember you actually telling me your story when you got it. Was it did you have all the different sale sites open or was there only one?
No, so for the way I got my PS5, I was just lucky to be honest, because I missed the window for the Series X. So when the PlayStation 5 went live randomly, I didn't get it anywhere at the initial, because it was like every retailer was like, it was staggered. Like
Yeah.
it was just following Twitter bots that were like, "Oh, this thing is up," and then you'd have to click on it as fast as possible. So there wasn't, you didn't have to fight bots for the PlayStation 5 because there was no
Oh.
time limit. It felt like there was no time to know when it was on, so I don't think anybody was able to like set up a bot fast enough because like by the time you could like say go at the right time, I don't think it was doable because no one complained about bots until the Series X had pre-orders, which is when they said it's going to be at this exact time at this exact retailer. So I was just sitting on my couch and following, I think it was like Nintendo deals on
Oh,
Twitter,
okay.
and they just tweeted out like, "Bam, Amazon has it," and I clicked on it, and it brought me to the most sketchy ass site I've ever seen in my life. It was like not even, it was like just an HTML page that said get PlayStation 5 question mark, and it said digital or non-digital, and I clicked on it, and it then brought me to like something that had an Amazon logo in the top corner, but it definitely wasn't like official looking, and it just
Yeah.
said we have received. And then about an hour later I checked again, and it was like actually a real, like it was sold out, but my cart had it, or my orders said
Yeah.
it was like going, and I didn't get mine canceled. A lot of people did get theirs canceled, so that was unfortunate.
Oh, really? I didn't even know that. Is it
Yeah.
just because they couldn't fulfill them all or they were doing the airport thing?
Yeah, I think Amazon did the airport thing. They've done that in the past so many times. Just
You
taking
should
too
that's
many pre-orders.
Can
It's
we
just
make
shit.
Yeah, you shouldn't be able to do that. The airport shouldn't be able to do that. You should not be able to take more inventory or clients than you have inventory.
You really shouldn't.
I mean, what the hell's going on here?
I don't know.
This is very shady stuff. Um, but yeah, that's good. I'm glad you got one. I did fight bots because of the Walmart sale, and they
Yeah.
announced every single hour that they were going to go, and it was miserable.
Yep.
And of course I lost every single one. Although Target I think the next day, which I wasn't aware of, did in-store sales. So you
Oh.
could actually,
Bullshit.
I only caught it afterwards, and I saw people talking about it when I was just looking up to see if there's going to be more sales. Yeah, apparently there were Targets that had them, and you could go and buy them at your local Target. But I don't know. That's obviously over. Um,
Yeah, I have heard that GameStop has confirmed that they will have, I think their quote was a minimum of two X's and two PS5s. Probably not at every location, but
so
sorry, on Black Friday.
yeah, Black Friday. Yeah,
So
that's what
I
everyone's
might
saying.
go camp out at the GameStop that you got yours at with my boy Ray and try, but we'll see.
Yeah. Okay. You want to? Yeah, but watch out because there's that group of. Although they already have it, but they showed up at 4 in the morning. Yeah, 4 in the morning.
Wow,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
at the GameStop you went to?
Yeah. So
How
they said
many?
there were three of them in that car. It was a clown car.
Wow, and they got
Yeah.
all of their consoles.
Yeah, they each got a console. They didn't do the group thing, which I kept telling him like, make sure you don't say that you're in a group because
Yep.
this is because we have listeners. We originally went to Fred Meyer's, which we've talked about on this show, and which is actually a very great way to get a console if it's available. But
Yeah.
they wouldn't allow if you came in a group. So if you looked like you were in a group, they would only sell one to a group,
Yep.
which became problematic. Although I think that your friends should have fought that because it
Absolutely.
should be one per house, and they not all of them were in the same house, so they
Yeah,
should have gotten two.
definitely. That was trash.
Um, but yeah, I mean, I understand what it is. It's like, that little guy has his power trip and wants to be Santa for the
Yep,
day.
he did.
Wants
He
to make
really
sure that
did.
everyone's happy, but whatever. The guy at GameStop didn't care. I actually, when he sold them all, I was like, oh yeah, I told him about the groups. He's like, oh yeah, we don't give a shit.
Yeah, you shouldn't. Like, who gives a shit if you all made it there first? First come, first serve. That's how it's got to be. Doesn't matter how you got there.
Well, it is a little bit lame. I have to admit, if all those three guys got one and they're all living together in the same house, there's like one TV, like what's the point? I don't get
I
it.
mean, yeah, if there's like, if they're not going to get used is my problem. If you're either going to go sell it or not use
But
it at
even if
all,
you're,
then don't. But if like you all are going to use that like at the same time, I still don't care.
I don't know, because this is all exactly what you said, or sell it. But this is kind of where that problem starts, right? You buy
Yeah,
more than you need and you sell the rest, and then you're now making a profit on eBay, and this is kind of what we're hoping to stop. But
true.
I don't know how you would discern one house. But I mean, yeah, if all those people live together, I mean, maybe show a proof of address.
Yeah, I mean that's what Amazon does. Like you can only do one per household. Like even if two different Amazon accounts, I think you can't get it shipped to the same house, and
Yeah,
they
which
will
makes
cancel on
sense.
you. Yeah.
Because why would you need two in the same house, anyways? I mean, unless the only, yeah, why would you need two?
I mean,
Just
Ray and I
share.
wanted. Yeah, but if you're playing together, like Ray and I wanted to play together
But
on
you're a
our
very
consoles.
unique little snowflake there with two TVs, and
Yeah, okay, okay, yeah, that's like if you have multiple TVs, like I think that's fine.
but
If people are gonna like multi-use it.
I still think little Timmy Tool there, he's not gonna get one now.
No, he's not.
Because you need to have it on two TVs. We need
Yeah.
to share. Yeah, there was a kid. I felt really bad. I told you about. I think I texted you about it. He showed up with his mom, and like he showed up a little later, and the line was already taken. And there was a lot of people that came by, and that we just told to f off in a
Yeah.
nice way. Basically said that all the consoles were taken. We're already standing in line. But this was like this. This kid had to be like 7 or 8. And his
Damn.
mom drove him there, and like he got out of the car. He was really excited, and then we had to tell him, we're like, sorry, there's only 5 consoles, and there's already 5 people in line. But he came. I mean, he came within 2 hours of the opening. So
Yeah. The
it,
kid learned.
yeah, he did
He
learn, but I
learned the
felt
hard
bad.
way. Yeah, that's sad.
Yeah,
Crushed
really,
his
it's
little
his mom's
dreams.
fault. What a
Yeah,
his
stupid
mom's got to
mom. How
yeah,
dare you go to a store 2 hours early
she's got
for
to get her
nothing?
etched together. Yeah, serious. This is serious business.
So how are you liking it? How are you liking your Series X as someone who hasn't
Oh,
had an Xbox in a long time?
I actually really really love it, and I don't know if I would love it less if I had the PS5. And the fact I actually am pretty happy that it's my only console right now, because it really allows me to appreciate it for what it is and not be distracted with something else. I think the thing I love the most about it is just the depth of games, like on the store, and that you're getting for free for the Game Pass, just for your Ultimate that you're paying for, and just the
Yeah.
amount of stuff. I mean, the fact that there is PlayStation, or sorry, Xbox One games, or Xbox Original, or Fat Xbox, or whatever you want to call it. The original Xbox games on there. There's only one, but it's oh no, there's two. There's Black,
There's
which
two on Game Pass, but I think there's 17 that are actually available on like you can put your disc in too. But
oh,
that's
but you
not
can
as
down. They're on
yeah.
the store though.
Yeah. There
Okay,
I
yeah,
think there's just under 20. Not a
that's
ton.
amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how. That's always what I felt like PlayStation had, and they held dear, was holding their old games, and they would always bring them back, and like they had all their PS1 games on all the old consoles you could buy. Um, but I'm glad Xbox kind of is more going in that direction. So,
Yeah.
and then the load times are amazing.
Yeah.
That's the other thing.
How is like suspending? Have you suspended multiple games?
Yeah, I have. It starts pretty quick. I mean, it's almost as, I mean, you just start exactly where you are.
Yeah.
So it's nice. It does it automatically, but yeah, I mean, it's really fast to get into everything. It's because the load times are so fast, anyways. It's like suspending's not even that great. I mean, it's great,
Wow.
but it doesn't take that long to get into it, anyways. So it's like,
Yeah.
Where I think if it was slow and you had suspending, you'd be like, "Oh man, this is awesome." But since yeah,
Okay.
but yeah, it's still cool. I mean, like the interface is a little confusing, I have to say. I never liked Xbox's interface. I still don't really like it. Uh, I find it to be not intuitive in my like. I'm always like, oh, it feels like things are organized in a messy room.
Hmm. I
I
could see
don't
that.
know. Like it. I mean, now that I know where everything is, that's fine. But it's like you go into. I don't even know how to explain it. Like the Game Pass, you there's just too many ways to get to things, and I don't know. Maybe there are unique ways to get to things. It's hard to explain. I don't know if I
Yeah.
can explain this,
I don't know. That's
but
fine. Xbox has always had trouble with UI. I do, as someone who has used it a lot and like knows all the little things that you can do with it and like the quickest ways to get in and out of things. I do like it a lot, but I don't know. I'd have to see you use it and like see like maybe like if there's something that you're missing or maybe it. I mean, it could just not be that intuitive, which I don't know. I feel like UI. I like there's an argument that like all UI needs to be like very intuitive and you should be able to just pick it up and like use it right away and like I kind of agree, but I feel like it's okay. I feel like we got to just start treating people like they're not idiots and be like just take the time to like learn it and then do like kind of fancier stuff with it. Cuz like once
ye-
you learn something, you can like really go crazy, but I don't know how hard it is to learn that UI. I've never had to do that.
I mean, it's not. It wasn't like disastrous, but
That's
like the
good.
only thing I can think of is, all. Well, there are actually. So all your Game Pass stuff is in the store. So I mean, like you can see all the games that you downloaded. One, you can't filter out the games that are downloading with the games that you have, which I thought was a little interesting. But when you go and you want to download a Game Pass only game, I don't know, to go into the store and then go into it makes sense, of course, because it's something that you're purchasing, but
So
yet
there is
on
a way to not do
PlayStation.
that.
Okay, because I was like, well, I just kind of want to filter it. I want Game Pass to be separate because these are free. I'm not really paying for them. And also, Game Pass feels more connected to cloud gaming, which if it was cloud gaming, then I wouldn't even be downloading it anyways. And so, why is it in the store? And then that's the way I think about it. But yet, you have to go into the store and then down to the Game Pass, then to download your games. But then you have it in your collection of games, but you don't know which ones are part of the Game Pass because it's not really like a try and go thing.
So I'll explain it in English, but it'll probably be better if I just like had it in front of. But
No,
like
no.
if you go to my games and apps, yeah, you see like every game that you own quotation marks. But on the left hand side, there should be something that says like library on there, and when you go down there, it says like, do you want to see the games that you own, which means you've bought them, you own the rights to them, you never lose them. You can see games that are only with games with gold, like the free games you get every month, and you can see what games are on just Game Pass without having to go into the store.
Oh, see, that's
And they
okay.
should have a little badge on them that say Game Pass, and that means that the game is on Game Pass and not like the little thumbnail. And then for the games
Yeah.
that you're downloading and not, I believe they have like a thing like the game gets grayed out, but I can't remember. But yeah, there's
Oh,
a way in your like my games and apps to just see Game Pass games.
what do you mean it gets grayed out?
Like if I'm like looking at my games collection and I see Destiny, but Destiny's like updating or downloading, it should say like on the bottom of the game like queued or installing or downloading.
It does, but
Oh,
I
okay.
think it's not a problem anymore because I'm only. But there was a point where there were more downloading than there was, and I was
Oh
just like,
yeah.
man, I just want to filter these out, um, which is not a big deal. I mean, a lot of this stuff is not a big deal, and in the end, none of it's a big deal because once you're playing the game, you're so happy that
Yeah.
you're fine. The UI, but I don't know. I mean, um, I do like the notification thing. I don't know if PlayStation has that as much, but like if somebody sends you a message or a friend request or anything like that, you just hold down the button, it starts it right away. I've always liked that. I'm sure PlayStation has similar things, but I just
I
can't
I
remember.
don't know how it worked on the 4, but the 5 does have that. And they have like
Yeah,
a little mini overlay, which is nice.
yeah. So I don't know. I mean, other than that, I mean the UI is pretty nice. It's definitely fast. I like that the store is always open, so it doesn't have to open it.
Yeah.
which is I know that we talked about this before, but that's really nice because it makes it just really quick to get in there, and it feels just like natural to the UI.
That's good.
Yeah. How are the cards?
So yeah, I honestly my PlayStation experience was a little interesting because I got it. Well, it wasn't delivered for one, so I had to go pick it up because UPS required a signature, and they okay. I don't think maybe at my apartment complex and other ones, but sometimes they will say like, "Oh, we tried to deliver, but no one answered the door." Bullshit. Because I had multiple people in my household, and they were like, "We never heard the knock." So I'm like, "You all just went there and went, nah, I don't want to do this today," and drove off. So I had to pick it up the next day, and then I I booted it up and just kind of played with the UI, and I think I installed God of War just to kind of see it running at 4K 60 and nice and pretty. But then I was like, I don't want to play this right now. I've already beat this game. So I literally turned it off and didn't boot it up again and went to play Call of Duty, which was a big mistake. But then the next day, um, it was amazing because I finally was like, oh fuck it, I gotta actually like try this $500 console that I bought. I don't have any games for it 'cause I didn't have any games for it, but I tried Astro's Playroom, and that is one of the most fun experiences I've ever had on a game console.
Nice.
Like I didn't expect to actually enjoy like it's kind of weird because PlayStation did really try to be like we are a next generation console, and Xbox did not really try to do that, which is perfectly fine. Both are valid options to do. But I didn't think I was going to care much about the controller, but I honestly love the controller more than anything else.
Yeah,
Like
that's what
all
everyone's
the
saying.
things with like the triggers are the coolest thing in my brain to be able to like you can't pull it as easy as normal, and they can program it to be like really hard to pull. The rumble feedback is phenomenal. Like I was expecting it to be just as good as the Nintendo Switch, which I shouldn't have because this is a kind of a luxury console if you compare it to the Switch, and the controller is a single unit rather than two tiny ass Joy-Cons. So they pretty much just took Joy-Con Rumble and on steroids because they had just a better controller. Uh, what is that beeping, Cody?
There he is. Okay. You were saying that you were thinking it was going to be like the Rumble is going to be like the Switch.
Oh, did I get
That's where I lost
disconnected?
you. Yeah.
Oh
Well,
boy.
I lost audio.
Well, YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. Well, hopefully my internet seems to be doing very awful right now. So hopefully the stream is good. But anyways, um,
That's okay.
yeah, I thought that was just going to be like Joy-Cons, like HD Rumble, but they did such a better job with them. And I think it's just because they have a little bit bigger of a controller, they have more room to work with, and they have a single controller rather than two tiny ones.
Yeah.
But oh my god, just like everything about playing the game, and I mean, Astro's Playroom is a tech demo, so they really just took the game and put it on steroids for the controller. But it is the most fun I've had opening a console, I think, ever. It was just so much fun, and it made me realize that I don't know which console I want to be my main this year or this time
Wow.
around. Like, I do prefer the Series X Elite controller. Like, I think that's the best controller ever designed, but this one's just more fun.
Well, it has what I was kind of maybe misunderstood, but is it there's resistance on the triggers
Yeah. So
so that
like
it's programmable resistance?
yeah, so the one of the things in Astro's Playroom is a like claw machine, and in order to pull the thing back, you press the left trigger. But when you put your hand on it, it makes the left trigger difficult to pull, so you have to really kind of put some strength into it, and it feels really good. And then you press the right trigger to break this glass ball, and it just feels phenomenal. And even the little speaker in there, like the PlayStation 4 had a speaker, the Wii
Yeah.
had a speaker, but the Wii speaker was like a pile of shit. It was like awful. And the PlayStation 4, like I think the only time I ever noticed it was in Last of Us. It made a little flashlight like click when you clicked it in The
Oh
Last of Us,
yeah.
which was like it was stupid, but also I loved it. But this was like they were putting out audio for all sorts of things, like little tic tacs on metal, and like I don't know, you need to try it. It was like I didn't go into it. I was like, I don't really need all these fancy features. Just give me a normal controller. And Lily, I'm like, I wish every game had all of these on all of the time. And it makes me sad that Xbox didn't go the route of making a new next gen controller because now third-party developers are just like, oh, they probably won't use it, and I think that the DualSense is going to be underutilized. But I really hope third-party developers actually try to use it as much as possible.
Yeah, that's the problem with cross-platform everything.
Yeah,
It's
and
just lowest denominator.
yeah,
But yeah, that's really cool. That's exactly what I heard. I hadn't heard anything, but every time I heard anyone online talk about the console, they said the controller was one of their favorite aspects of it, which is interesting. I just thought it was the feel of it, and I know that the texture on there is like X's and O's,
oh
right?
yeah, it's subtle, but yeah, I mean the design itself is very nice. Like I still think that like the overall look and feel of it is not as good as the Elite controller for many, many, many reasons. Like the Elite controller is a $200 controller, so it's like kind of hard to judge. This is a $70 controller, but the
Yeah.
things that this controller does makes me feel like a new generation of gaming. It makes me like think about all these new things I can do in games, and like as a person who makes games, I'm just like cycling through all these games that I like and other games that I've either worked on or wanted to make, and I'm like, oh, this would be really cool to add here. Like there's so many cool possibilities, and it's just way more immersive, which I
Yeah.
love immersion in games.
I mean, I think that you can definitely do that fairly easily for even multi-console releases, because especially stuff that you're saying where it's audio cues. I don't think that's going to be a big deal.
Yeah.
It just creates a little bit more immersion, right? And I suppose you just put the triggers there for the controller audio, and then if there is no controller audio, it just doesn't play those.
Yeah, I think
Um,
that the triggers will be underutilized, which is sucks because that's probably the coolest part. And then we'll see about the haptic feedback. I'm kind of curious. I want to probably boot up a PlayStation 4 game that does not have DualSense support and feel how the controller feels on a normal rumble behavior, because I don't think I felt that yet. I've only played Astros, which is using, I don't know if they do the same thing as the Nintendo Switch, which I believe the Switch uses like, I think it uses like wave files, like pretty much like audio files. You put them through as the way of like
oh, really?
using Rumble. Yeah, like you give it a WAV file and it uses the WAV file to adjust its
Yeah.
Rumble motors. I don't know how PlayStation does it, so I don't know how hard it is to make the Rumble on the controller work. But man, oh man, it is way way cool. You
Well,
need
I
to
mean,
come try it.
if you're saying that this is something that will elicit mechanics, then the good thing about this, which I think that will help PlayStation in this battle of consoles in the future, is just indie games will maybe use these mechanics to make specialized games
Yes,
for just the PlayStation,
I hope so.
which won't even be able to come out on other consoles. And I think maybe that's going to be the thing, because usually that's the thing, right? I mean, that when you had the Move and all the different the eye cameras and
Yeah.
dancing, and there were just there were unique games for those consoles that had that first, that weren't on any others. And so they like dance, what is it, dance party,
Dance Central, Just Dance.
dance, yeah, all those games, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think the first person was the Wii, right? But obviously for the motion controllers was Just Dance, I think, was first on the Wii, right? Or Dance
Yes.
Central,
Yeah, I think it was just on the Wii.
and then the Xbox after that, because
Yeah.
they got that giant fucking camera thing.
Yeah. And even outside of the controller aspect, I think that Astro's Playroom was such a good idea and honestly could have been its own game. But the fact that that thing was a pack-in is like you you would love it. I love it for a big reason,
Oh,
which is the reason you'd love it is because it's like a love letter to the history of game consoles and specifically PlayStation. But it's like the whole setup of the game is there's four domains, and it's the four different domains of the PlayStation 5. You have the cooling system, the GPU, the CPU, and the SSD. Um,
that's
and you
interesting.
go to each one of those worlds. It's just like it's a normal 3D platformer. So you go to each of those worlds, and each of them has four levels, and it's like a specific aspect. So I think there was like ray trace jungle, um, and like super fast. I don't know, something super fast for the SSD. And what you do is you just literally go through and collect coins, which is normal, and you do little puzzles, and you get to like experiment with all the things that the DualShock can do. But you collect puzzle pieces and artifacts. And what they are is they're literally like 3D models of all these things throughout the years of PlayStation. Like all these
Oh,
weird
that's cool.
accessories that like barely anybody's heard of. And the texture work is phenomenal. Like I was like holding it was like a DualShock 1 I unlocked, and it literally had the exact texture of a DualShock 1. Like I could literally pick one up out of my collection and like look at it and it looked identical. It was so weird. But it's
That's
just
cool.
cool to see like, oh yeah, remember when the freaking PlayStation multi-tap came out, and like be able to like every model is like you can just take your controller in real life and tumble it all around to use the 3D model, like to look at the 3D model. So you can like put your DualSense upside down and look at all the different ports. It was just it's so fun.
Well, I played the Astros for the PSVR, which I thought was amazing. It blew me away when I first saw it. They hit the VR, like it was something about the distance that they put the character, and they weren't playing like these VR tricks, and you just felt like I don't. It just felt really good. There were moments where I was just like lost in it.
Yeah, I
And
don't know
I
who
didn't.
makes Astro's Playroom, but holy shit.
Well, there was three. There's been three now. So there's
Yeah,
been
I've
the
only played this one.
PSVR. The other one I didn't like,
Okay.
which was more of a felt like more of a kids game.
Yeah.
I think it was the original. The PSVR one was amazing because it just was really entertaining to be able to run, do this platforming with this guy, and I just felt like they did the angles really well, and the space that they had him in just felt really good. Um, and yeah, and then this one, I'm just glad that they're continuing like this innovation, especially as everything you're saying, where it's like they're using it to kind of present the functionality of the console. That's so cool.
Yeah, and like yeah, you do. You need to just come over and just play the shit out of it because you're gonna fall in love with it. It was so
Yeah, yeah.
fun, and it again, like I think I just really didn't give PlayStation credit for what they were trying to achieve with this console because like I saw them come out with like their accessories and they had like the 3D audio and like at first I was like, oh, 3D audio, like it's cool, but like whatever. And now I'm like, okay, I didn't think that the DualSense is going to be this cool, so like I'm so tempted to go get those 3D audio PlayStation headsets or look for I don't know if any other ones do it for 3D audio, but holy shit, it's like I'm kind of curious. That might be even cooler of an experience. And this is just with
Yeah.
the pack-in, so I don't know. I tried to Google like what does the DualSense do. I never found myself doing this for a game before, but I was like, okay, I want Demon Souls, but what does the controller do for Demon Souls? And I was trying to find out like all the cool things it did. And same with Miles and Sackboy's Adventure, and they all of them are kind of minimal implementations, which all of them except for Demon Souls is a PS4 game as well, which makes sense. But
Yeah.
I really it really made me consider like maybe I want more PlayStation 5 games. And the UI, which is how this started, you asked me how the UI was, it is incredible.
Yeah. Well, I always love their UI.
Like I see I've never liked their UI. I didn't like the
Really?
PlayStation 3 at all. I didn't like the PlayStation 4 was better, but it was like meh. And I had started to hear some rumbles of like, "Oh, well you can't change the background of your PlayStation like home anymore." And like they kind of removed some features and I was like, "Oh, that sucks." I had a feeling they'd do that, which happens when you build it from the ground up. You always remove shit and then add it later as an update. But I honestly didn't find myself caring because the way they and I see why they took out the whole custom backgrounds is because it doesn't really do a thing anymore. Like Xbox has a background, but with this one, it's like every tile you go on fills the screen in the background, which looks really nice and it's so fast. And you can customize a little bit of it, which isn't too bad, but I just found myself like it just felt way faster than I need to try your Series X actually because the One X I have the UI is kind of sluggish, but it's old. I don't know if like it's still the same amount of sluggish on the Series X. I would really much hope not, but this was the most fluid UI I've ever had.
Yeah. Well, we'll do a trade, or I'll come over and bring it.
Yeah.
Um, the other thing is, I what their big thing was these tiles, right? And so that while you're in game, you can access these tiles, and like I'm sure they did that in Astro, where the tiles and like what your objective is, and or any of the other information that might tie into the game that you're playing right at that moment.
Oh yeah, that
Um,
was on it was weird. That was something else that I saw and I was like I just don't understand why you would do that. And I still think it's like it really depends on how the developers use these cuz for a lot of games I just don't see it functioning well, but with Astro's Playroom, it's like the game is silly and it's a 3D platformer, so the game is like you have this many levels and you do this many things. You like it's a very just numbers based get everything. So it worked really well. When I press the PlayStation button, it's like, hey, you just unlocked the speedrun version of that level. If you click this tile, I will load it for you right away. Or hey, you haven't got all the artifacts in this level. Want to just jump right back into it? And I was like, it was a little overwhelming at first because I'm not used to having just the UI be like, hey, want to do this, want to do this, want to do this. It's usually just like, what do you want to do? And then I go. But it's cool.
Yeah, so it's more of an assistance rather than you directing what you want to do.
Yeah, I used it once, but like the reason that I just am like, I don't know if this is going to really play out is that as much as the cards were cool, at the same time, I could pretty much achieve 90% of what the cards are doing by just pressing the pause button and loading it in the UI because the load times are so damn fast. So,
Yeah.
like, I'm trying to think of, like, God of War, like, if they did something similar where it's like, well, you haven't got all the things in this biome, go to this biome now. That doesn't work in God of War because it might work, but like in the God of War 4 on the PS4, you had to go to the center thing and change the world to go to it, which I guess was a way of hiding load screens. But it's kind of like, can you allow for fast travel at any given point in God of War? Maybe not. So does the cards really work in that way? But maybe they find another way to use them. I want to see more ways of using them.
Well, I think that that's going to be the challenge for future developers. I honestly don't think that trying to retrofit the older games to these new UIs or the new capabilities
Yeah.
is a good idea, and probably will happen in a minor scale. But um, where I think it's going to be great is just, yeah, as you said, as a developer, you see these new mechanics that you can use or these new interfaces, and it's like, okay, well, how can we make the engagement greater for the
Yeah.
player?
And
And that's kind of, I mean, that's kind of what the cards. It's like allowing you to see bits of information. It's allowing to push bits of information to the player rather than just having them pull information.
yeah, and I am just really I think I'm really excited for this generation and how it's going to play out because of just how honestly kind of polar opposite each console decided to go with things. Um, because like Xbox really went for let's be the most powerful thing and make it really easy, which is like really great and like there's going to be tons of games that benefit from that. And I don't know, I'm excited to see just how much more powerful the Series X is in testing. Like on paper, yeah, whatever, but is it really going to be that much more powerful? I don't know if it's just maybe I have a feeling it's just going to hit 120 frames per second more than the PlayStation 5 will, which for me literally doesn't matter. I'm never going to see that unless I get a 120 hertz TV, which is super
Yeah.
expensive and whatever. But as I am more excited to play PlayStation games and honestly to make games that work on PlayStation than I am for Xbox because the Xbox is just kind of like it does feel like a PC. It doesn't feel like special like there's anything about that console that's special other than it's amazing at playing games, which to be honest is all it needs to do. So like
Well,
I'm not upset about it.
I'm thinking the I mean the approach that Xbox looks like they're taking, or Microsoft looks like they're taking, is just having as much content as they possibly can to push forward their their services.
Yeah.
And I think that's awesome. I mean, there is, and I really wish that they would have allowed for streaming at launch, because I just want that feeling of being able to start a game on my console and then continue it on my phone. I did try to do the remote thing. I kind of got it set up. I only attempted it once, but I know you can do it with that as well, where you can continue to play it on your phone or continue to play it on another device. But I just think that would be really amazing if your computer, your TV, and your phone are all now able to pick up the game that you just stopped.
Yeah.
The on-the-go gaming, and I think that once they get that, that's gonna feel really good. And that's gonna be really hard to compete with. It's just not there yet.
Yeah.
And I think they're waiting until all the Christmas sales come out, so that they don't hinder their own people's reasons for buying these consoles.
Yeah.
Uh, so I don't know. I'm because they do. I mean, if they just keep acquiring studios, they're gonna have so many games that they're gonna give you for free. It's
Yeah.
gonna be unreal.
Yeah, like Xbox is doing so many great things that like I'm super excited about. But I think it's just like something like the PlayStation 5 still has that like console charm, like the reason why I love
Yeah.
consoles. There's just something about it that I'm like, oh, this is so fun and cool. And Xbox doesn't have that, but it's not like making me not like the Xbox. It's like, yeah, the Xbox does all these other great ass things. And I also wonder if anything would change if Halo was out right now. But I don't think I mean, it would definitely be awesome to have Halo right now, but I don't think it would have made the console feel like that new console charm because it was just on the Xbox One as well. So I'm wondering if the PlayStation's next gen traditional, like, this is a new step towards the future, is gonna maybe be their only way of competing with Xbox being like just this conglomerate, all these games all the time, like tons and tons of content, like you're saying. And I don't know if it will be, but I hope it does because I love playing the PlayStation.
Well, they have very unique titles, and IPs that are, and that's kind of it's the same reason why we all buy Nintendo
Yeah.
devices, and whether they're good or bad. I mean, I remember I owned because I'm unique snowflake also. I owned all the consoles at the when the Wii U came out,
Yeah.
and I waited on the Wii U because
So
I
did
was like,
I.
this is stupid, but for some reason there was a little joy in my heart where I don't get that for any other console, but I was like, man, I really just want to play these games, that these franchises that have been around that I grew up with.
Yeah, and I think
And
that's what kind of caught me off guard was I have never been much of a PlayStation person, and yeah, Nintendo always has that charm, which is why I love the Switch. But literally within an hour, I was like, yeah, I just didn't want to stop playing the console. Like I just wanted to be on that platform playing all of the time. And I'm
yeah,
excited for you to try it because I want to see if you'll get that same little
well,
charm that you like. Because the Wii U was the exact same way. The Wii U was like trash, but then when I finally got it and just played, I think it was probably Mario Kart 8 was the first thing. Even then, I was just like, there's just something about it.
my biggest gripes, and I actually don't have that many friends on PlayStation, but I have tried it in the past. But the online experience has always been the issue. Well, party experience, sorry,
Yeah,
has always been the issue for them, and a thorn in their side. I didn't really do much party gaming on the last console, so I really don't know if I'm the best to say if it got better or not.
I didn't
But I
either.
do remember it sucking. But that's kind of the weird thing. Like I feel like the PlayStation is the thing I turn on when I don't really want to hang out with people and I just want to. But the Xbox is like usually someone wants to play something and we're all getting together, we're playing something. That's how I feel the Xbox is. And then there's no reason you could swap that.
Well, see,
I mean,
I think you could, but now I don't think you can because now with Xbox having the Windows ecosystem tied into it, so you can literally have an Xbox Live party on your PC with people on your console as if it's just one party.
yeah,
It's
I did
like,
that
yeah, that it
and it
like,
worked out really
and
well.
I totally agree with you. And that brought me to like, usually every generation of console, especially as a collector, you kind of got to choose where do I get third party games, and then of course I'm going to get exclusives. And like year after year, it's always been, oh, just get my games on Xbox, and if it's exclusive, go to PlayStation. But I think I'm going to change that. And this year, if it's a single player game that I will never play with anybody, I think I'm going to get it on the PlayStation. But if it's a game that I will play with other people, or it's an exclusive, or it's on Game Pass, of course, yeah, I'll play it on Xbox. But like, I think the PlayStation is going to be my console where it's like, I don't want to talk to anybody. I want to have a lot of fun playing a game.
Yeah, no, that's how I mean that's why like even playing The Last of Us and other I it was like an old console to me. I mean that's how I
Yeah,
always felt it. And you could connect with other people, but I just never got any friends. I think I have a
I
total
have
of
never played
two
for PlayStation
friends.
Online.
I think I had a total of two friends. For all the consoles that I ever owned, I have two friends. That's it.
Oh wow.
And yeah, there's two guys at high school, and they're never on anymore.
Yeah.
But that's just how PlayStation has always felt. It's always felt that way.
Yeah, and
Um,
I mean, I know that they have a lot of like a big online community, but like I've never sat there and went, man, I wish I had a PlayStation Network account because I want to play online. I thought about it for about 5 seconds and went, man, cloud saves could be cool. And then I was like, but I'm never gonna not be at my home playing on a PlayStation, so what's the point? So I don't think
yeah.
I'm ever gonna get an online PlayStation account. I don't think it's worth it, but of course I have a Game Pass account. Like that is worth it.
Well, it just depends how many games they're giving out and what I mean, in the end, it's just, yeah, what do you get,
Yeah.
right? With all these accounts and this overhead that we all so gladly take on.
Oh yeah.
Um, but yeah, so I mean, I feel like what Xbox is offering is pretty good. I mean, the
Oh
100
my god,
games
yeah.
is ridiculous. It's like because yeah, you're right. I hadn't played Xbox in a while. I kind of let it go by the side of the road. Because I just there wasn't anything that was really interesting to me that I couldn't play on my PlayStation. I actually loved the PlayStation 4, so I really enjoyed that. It was probably my favorite console out of the two. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm wondering if this generation's gonna become like Sony's gonna maybe like try to just be like, hey, why don't we try to not maybe compete is not the right word, but be Nintendo? Like, I think that Xbox is getting a little too big, like not in a bad way. I love it, but like I think that Sony's realizing like I don't know if we can compete with Game Pass ever or XCloud ever, like not in a good enough way to where people actually give a shit. But I think that they're seeing what Nintendo's always done, which is like they've never competed. They just do their own shit, and everyone just buys it. Like the Switch outsells all other consoles. It's like, but and I think Sony's just gonna try to do that. They're just like we're gonna have great games and a great fun experience, and Xbox can just reign supreme on
Well,
all
I mean,
accounts, which is fine.
it if it's a gradient and you put Xbox on one side and Nintendo on the other, I mean, Sony definitely is in the middle. I
Yeah,
mean, it definitely is kind of a little bit of both. Um, but yeah, I mean, that's perfect, right? That's what we need, and hopefully there because if it was just the two, then I don't know. I feel like there would be a void there that someone else would need to fill.
yeah, and I think that the at the start of last gen with the PS4, it was definitely PS4 and Xbox on one side, Nintendo on the other, and I think that Nintendo's or the PlayStation shifted into the center, as you said, like right at the end here. And I'm wondering if they're going to stay at the middle or if they're going to try to go on either side of the fence. And if I were to decide, I would say either stay in the middle or go towards Nintendo. I think let Xbox have $1 billion and an infinite check to buy all these things and do their own thing because they have a lot of cool stuff on their end.
Well, the other aspect that we don't really even aren't really taking into consideration is the difference between Sony and Nintendo, which are both Japanese-based companies, um, and the idea that the for the PlayStation, which is has a lot more Japanese games on it or available than the I think the Xbox would. Um, but yeah, I guess what I'm saying is like they probably wanted to differentiate themselves in that market. So for them, they have a dual market there where it's like the very
Yeah.
family-oriented Nintendo and then Sony, who's a little bit more hardcore, a little bit, but not as much as those damn Americans.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's a good point. I think that the public image of Sony, I don't, or of PlayStation, I honestly don't know as a U.S. citizen like how different it is over there because no one buys Xboxes over there. They're trying really hard, and I mean some people do, but it's definitely. I wonder, yeah, I wonder how they view like PlayStation versus Nintendo over there.
Well, I mean, and just the fact that they have all of their exclusive titles that are Japanese companies
Yeah,
that want to sell on a Japanese console and blah blah. I mean, I know that they've done a really good job, especially in the North Americas, to be able to kind of make us not see that anymore. And you don't really like when you think PlayStation, it's like you don't even visualize it as a foreign-owned company.
yeah,
But it is. I mean, and so they're making considerations. Well, they get to play in both markets, which is nice. Where I don't think Xbox has that same luxury, which allows them a little bit more space so they don't get as threatened,
yeah,
possibly. Um, but I don't know. Everyone has Windows, and that's kind of where they're going to storm into that market because with the ability to crossplay and the ability to play all these games on all consoles, and also with the streaming available on any device, people have Android devices over in all the countries. People have Windows
yeah.
in every country. So yeah,
Yeah, I think that Xbox is definitely giving us a preview and trying to push us into the future of gaming in terms of how it's going to be to play games. And I think that Sony and Nintendo still are like, remember video games how they were, and like they're kind of holding on to that a little bit. So I don't know when they're gonna,
yeah,
because it we've talked about it. It's inevitable. Like the what Xbox is doing with Game Pass and XCloud is just how it's gonna be. There's gonna be one day just like PlayStation app, and you just play and stream PlayStation games, and like it's gonna get to that point. and Xbox is already like, yeah, we're going towards it, and it shows. Like everybody loves what Xbox is doing, and so do I. Like, it is amazing.
Maybe that's their next big acquisition. They buy Sony.
Jesus.
Actually, you know the one that I heard, that the rumor right now is that they're gonna buy Sega.
Yeah, that's been a rumor for a couple months, but
Yeah, what the hell, man?
I
Again, like the other thing with this is that kind of blows my mind is that everybody's like, you bought ZeniMax. That what else are you gonna buy?
yeah, and like Phil Spencer's like, "Oh, we ain't done." And I think that they also said that they currently are in zero talks with any Japanese developer.
Yeah. Oh,
I
okay.
saw something like that somewhere. I don't know, but Sega would be interesting. The two companies have a history, so like I would not put like they have the same type of history that Bethesda and the Xbox had.
Yeah.
So that would make total sense. I could totally see that happening, and I don't really care.
No, it'd be good. It would be interesting, you know.
Yeah.
And there's so many games. I mean, that would be mass amount of games that they could drop on
Yeah, I'm just
the
like,
consumers.
yeah, no, that'd be insane. Xbox is just so big, man. Like, yeah, where else do you fucking go after ZeniMax? Like, you
Well,
don't. I feel like they don't need to. Like, no one's sitting there going, "Oh, who's next?" Everyone's kind of like, "All right, chill. Like, we're fine. You've done it. Can we just get games now?"
I kind of think. Well, I mean, so you think that's more coming from them than the consumer, or
Yeah, like
the
I don't. For me personally, I'm not like, "Oh, they need to get more," because the reason they've built all these studios is because everybody's complained for the whole generation they don't have exclusives, which is arguable. But I'm super glad that they're going out and getting these developers to make exclusives and stuff. But like, it doesn't help because of COVID, I know, but it so far hasn't proven themselves yet. Like, they've gone out and got the developers, but they haven't proven that they can maintain the developers' magic because let's be honest, Xbox has a bad history with getting developers and ruining them. So like,
yeah.
it's still like we don't know what, but I mean we know what Bethesda Studios is making, and we already kind of knew what they were making, so whatever. But like, there's a lot of studios Xbox has, like their Initiative that's been rumored for a while, and like there's a new Fable and Halo Infinite, like there's and Gears, the next Gears of War is probably in development, but there's a lot of games that are like up in the air. We don't know if they can still do that. Once they start delivering great exclusive, then I'm like, yeah, sure, go buy more. You know what to do. But so far they haven't like completed the cycle yet. They just keep acquiring and getting bigger but not paying it off.
Well, I suppose if they leave the companies alone, per se, and I'm sure they've learned their lesson in the past.
Yeah, I'm sure they
Uh,
have. I have all the faith in the world that they're going to do fantastic. But they
yeah.
just haven't done it yet. And Halo Infinite was supposed to be that like we know what to do now and not going so hot. So,
Yeah. 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 It's like they forgot about them.
yeah, they were just so busy, and they're like, "All right, guys, so Halo's finished, right?" And they're like, "No, fuck, just cancel."
Yeah, but again, I think that your earlier statements are probably very accurate about the fact that a lot of the issues that people were complaining about are late level optimizations.
Yeah,
So hopefully, yeah, with the big news and I think that there is possibly a political aspect of this with the delay, and maybe they did need it, but maybe it's just showing that hey, we're more interested in giving you a good game.
yeah,
I just hope I don't know. I hope it's great.
yeah. I mean,
Uh,
yeah, they said what was it like this morning that in the coming weeks we'll get some Halo Infinite news.
yeah.
And the interesting thing is, I believe, um, they said something where like the game, it's a high level update, which like I don't know what that could mean. I'm assuming what
Yeah.
that means is we're not going to see anything like gameplay related. It's going to be like, let's explain what's going on, which I don't know. At this point, as much as I would say that the Halo community wants to know what the hell's going on, we are just up in arms of like, yeah, we just don't know anything about the game. Like, we've only seen this one thing, and there's a lot more questions than answers from that gameplay trailer, which is fine. But they said, I don't know who said this, but it's a quote, heads down, 343 is quote, heads down working through every facet of Halo Infinite. Which I think
The
that's,
whips are out.
yeah, it's I don't think that's completely accurate. I do think that there is a good amount of that team that is kind of sitting there wondering what do I work on? What do I do? I did my work the past 5 years of development, and I can't go make a new cutscene. The game's done. But I'm sure that they're hopefully working on future content. That's what I would assume that they would go on to. But who knows what's going on in that studio?
Well, you know what? If it's more polished, I honestly, actually hope that it was an overestimate for them, and that they
Yeah.
actually wanted to make a bigger game than they were able to, and now they're taking the time to do that, because in the end I want a bigger game, right?
Oh,
I will
absolutely.
wait for, rather than having them compromise too much on their dream. Yeah, so hopefully we get something awesome. I don't know. I mean, I think it's just gonna everyone's just gonna have to chill out and wait and see.
Yeah, the Halo community sucks at chilling out. I mean, it's been 5 years since we've had a new Halo game, and I mean, 343 has been doing fantastic work on fixing the Master Chief Collection and updating those, bringing them to PC. But I think that I think that they realize it, but I think a lot of people are like, "This is really great. We really appreciate it," but like re-releasing a 10-year-old, a 15-year-old game is only fun for about a week, and then it's like, okay, cool. I've re-experienced my nostalgia. I'd like a new game,
Yeah.
please. Which again, take your time. I want a great game.
Well, the other rumor is Bungie. They're gonna acquire Bungie, although Bungie, believe I said that that's not a thing.
Yeah, I think that that
Um,
came out, and I want to say the president of Sony, or not Sony, president of Bungie or CEO, he literally just said no, which makes sense. They just got independent. I don't think they want to be owned ever again.
that would be amazing though, because if they retook over the Halo series,
I mean, it's
and it,
it's a kind of full circle that the Joseph Staten, he's pretty much the new lead on Halo Infinite, and he's the guy who
oh,
wrote the
okay,
original game. Like, he's
yeah,
the original writer who left Bungie after they kind of screwed him over on the story of Destiny 1. So he's gone full circle and is working on Halo again. So I hope that that is good news. But
yeah.
I trust 343. I don't think that Bungie has to come in and fix Halo. I think that they know what to do. They've had some trouble development in the past. I trust them. We'll see.
Yeah, I just think sometimes they got a little bit. They just had a little bit of a weird growth
Oh yeah.
period. You know, I don't know. It's just like I don't think that once Halo 3 dropped, which was the last Bungie game, and then because right that was the end of their contract.
Yeah.
So Halo 3 dropped, and it was, it felt really good. And then after that, I just don't think they knew what to do. I don't think 343 really knew what to do.
I mean, yeah, it's
You
it's
know?
really hard to say, like, to sit there on a established franchise and be like, okay, so this is established. This team's worked on it for a decade now. You're gonna take it over as a new developer. Like, making a new development team is hard enough as itself, but then to give them the Halo franchise is harder than hell. And then to also
Yeah.
say, also don't ship it on the new Xbox, ship it on the 360, which that fucking sucks, and they pushed that console to its damn limits. So like, and then they had, after that game, they had Halo 5, which Halo 5 had all sorts of problems. And when Halo 5 was in development, that's back when Xbox was shipping with TV and NFL, and like the Xbox
Yeah.
division was just a shit show on its own. So like, this is the first time 343's been given enough budget, enough time, hopefully,
And a new
a new
console.
console, even though it's still on the Xbox One, but whatever. Like, they've been given, it's like this is the final straw. Like, okay, we're giving you everything. You gotta do something great this time, and I do think they're gonna do it.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I just think that they were trying to innovate in the wrong places
Oh
sometimes,
yeah.
with the old games, and especially when they followed COD through the advanced movement thing, and then it just it was like they were just trying to hold enough of Halo, and then that they could, keep the fans happy, and then do all this other weird shit on top of it. Um,
Yeah, and I think that that comes down directly to shifting a studio, because you build a new studio, and like the people who built Halo, a lot of people stayed. I mean, a good amount did leave, and like there's a lot of Bungie veterans that are still at 343 today, but the core of that game, the people who made that game and made it what it was, they went to go make a new game. And you can't just like bring in random people from the industry and say make a great game that's Halo, because they've been around the industry. Like, there have been reports that people who worked on Halo 4 and 5 didn't even really like the Halo franchise. They
yeah.
were just there
Well,
for a job because they need a ton of work done. So,
Yeah, but I think they were just scared. I mean, I think that they were just trying to pander to the fans, and so you know what it felt like? It felt like I feel like the old games, all the way up till 3 was when they added a mechanic, or they added, it's like they reformed the entire game to fit that mechanic or fit that, so that. But this felt like it was Halo with stuff on top of it,
Yes.
where it wasn't like they didn't change the core idea to fit the stuff that they had done. So it felt like it was just like kind of tagged on.
Yeah.
The other two, and I think that they were so scared to piss off the fans that Bungie had, gained, and they didn't. So they were so scared to mess with the underlying formula, and that's what they needed to do. They needed to mess with, and that's kind of this one with the open world thing. I feel like it's like they're finally messing with the underground formula, and they're saying, "Hey, this is our game."
Yeah, and I mean, even them messing with that underlying formula, it's still from that trailer. It felt like Halo, and I mean, they keep saying like they really want it to feel like Halo One, and I'm getting those vibes. I would love it honestly if they could just release that demo. That would be so awesome.
Yeah.
But I understand that's really difficult to do. But yeah, I agree with you. I think they were afraid, and I can't blame them. Like with Bungie, they talked about after they made Halo 1 that like Halo 2's development was kind of hell, and they were like super worried about fucking up Halo because they'd only made one, so like the expectations are high. But I think Bungie had the luxury of, even if people's expectations are high, Bungie's the one making the game from the scratch, so like they set those expectations as well. Where 343 didn't really get to set anything, they were just being told all of these expectations, which sucks. But
Yeah.
I
I don't
for
know.
me this is kind of my last like. I really want to give 343 as much support as I can, but if they really can't nail this one, I'm like I just don't see it happening anytime soon.
Yeah. That's we'll see.
Yeah, I would love to just see multiplayer, honestly.
Yeah.
That's what everyone wants to see, and I think that's the most important thing that they can show. They've only said that it's a free-to-play multiplayer.
Now, what if it's battle royale?
So yeah, it's. I don't think that they're gonna ship a battle royale. They've said in the past they're not gonna do it.
Just
And
this open world thing, and like
yeah, again, it
screens.
makes sense. But the big thing that a lot of people are like on the fence about with it is it. They've openly communicated that they really don't seem to care much about the battle royale thing right now,
Okay.
and it doesn't seem like the way they're going with it is what they're going to do, because Halo 5 was a very strong push towards let's be an arena shooter again, which is what
Yeah.
people loved, and people did love that right at Halo 5. So, and then the other thing is Halo is the game who has Forge, and you can already play a Halo Battle Royale in Halo 5 that people make in Forge. Granted, it's
Oh, really?
not like 80 players, it's only like I think 16 is the max that Forge supports, maybe more. But like they've got drop pods that drop in and random map spawns, and I'm sure that they have a kill zone that draws in. Like you can make a battle royale in Halo Forge now. So I think that, in my opinion, Halo excels when you just make a sandbox and say do what you want with it. So if 343 just takes the time that they would to make a battle royale and make Forge good enough to support a battle royale, just let people
Yeah,
make it,
agreed.
and that would
No,
be so much better.
I mean that's kind of the thing that I've been hoping for. Every single Halo game is just like more open editing.
Yeah.
Allow for more things to be edited, more capabilities to happen. I didn't know that you could even get into the structure of how to make a kill zone. I mean, I didn't even know that would be capable with Five Forge.
Oh, Halo 5's Forge is like it was too advanced for me. Like I forged
Oh,
a
really?
lot in
Like,
Halo 3, 4, and Reach.
can you
This was
code?
so advanced. There's scripting, yeah. Like you can script like when I hit this zone, spawn these objects and like move
Wait, you have to
objects.
script with this controller?
I don't know how it works. There's Halo 5, so you can do Halo 5 Forge on PC. It's not like scripting,
Oh,
like
okay, yeah,
not like
okay.
standard scripting, but there are it's easier to forge on PC, of course. And then those maps are transferable onto Xbox One. It's kind of weird. You can't play Halo 5 on PC, but you can play Halo 5 Forge on PC.
Yeah,
Whatever.
that's awesome, actually.
But it's like, yeah, there is logic gates, I guess you could say. And there was always like
Yeah.
like you could have like teleporting channels, but like I think the big thing, and there's like terrain adjustments. So like I think the only thing Halo 5's Forge is really missing is just bigger budgets so you can support a big map, more player counts so you can support bigger places, and the big one that everybody's been begging for literally since Halo 3, which is AI. To be able to say spawn 5 elites here and like make
Yeah.
firefight maps, make at that point you can make campaign missions. Like that is every like oh my god, please. Like that's
I mean,
all I want.
that's kind of what StarCraft did,
Yeah.
right? I mean, like they just opened it up, or any. I mean, we could say. I mean, that's just the most recent one that I remember playing. That was like, holy crap, you can do it anything you want. Of course, I mean, there's all these mods that we make for other games, but I think that's a little bit. It wasn't really built into the game the way that StarCraft did it, where it was encouraged in the game, and you're like, you could do anything. It's like, wow. And then you start playing these different games, and I mean, this has been around, but I don't know. Yeah, definitely. I mean, if we could get more of an open editor, as open as possible, so that anything can happen, you know,
Yeah, and
hell,
I wouldn't be surprised if maybe Halo, because it's on both generation of consoles, I wouldn't be surprised if Forge or maybe part of Forge is limited to the Series X. I kind of want it to be, because if they could just make Forge from the ground up for the Series X, oh my god, they'd have so much power. Because I mean now Halo 5, I think that was what introduced dynamic lighting, which is just baked lighting, but it's still like you can put objects in the world and then bake the lighting in so it looks nice. I think Halo 4 didn't have that, to where it was just crappy ambient lighting, but it did the
yeah.
job. But that, I think with like Halo 5, you could have fog, and like you can change the night cycle, I believe. It
Oh,
just got
that's cool.
so you could have horror maps. Like it was insane what people could do with that. And it
Yeah.
just make it better and add AI into it, and it would be phenomenal.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, this was exactly what we said it was.
Yeah.
Talking about consoles, talking about the future, and yeah. So thank you for listening. We're gonna keep doing this on Mondays at 8,
Yep.
and we will talk to you soon.
Bye.